The NBA says Porter committed several serious violations. He's now been banned for life.
For his involvement in gambling.
Jontay Porter, born November 15, 1999. Today's feature literally bet on himself, was caught, and lost his chance to compete in the NBA forever. Jontay Porter, the league alleges, took advantage of his position as a player on the team and a worker of the NBA to give insider information to sports bettors about things like his status for games and even the outcome, going as far as placing bets on his own team to lose the game. He's the second person to be banned for life under Commissioner Adam Silver, and in a statement, Silver stressed the importance of keeping the game as fair as possible and the integrity of competition. American sports betting became legal in 2018, and we knew at some point there'd be individuals attempting to take advantage of that new market to get rich quick or simply scratch their gambling addiction itch. But you would never think of an individual like Jontay Porter, who's worked so hard to finally get his chance in the league and was playing well in those small spurts of action, would be an offender. The NBA became alarmed and focused on Porter after a bet on his performance was made for $81,000, and if the bettor won, they'd receive over $1 million. Well, that person won and received the large sum of money, but attached to it was a fishing line that led the NBA right to Jontay Porter. On a March 20th, 2024 game, Porter is alleged to have reported himself ill in order to play less than 3 minutes, which would cost him in performance. Knowing about these plans beforehand, bettors assumed to be connected to Porter made bets on favor of the poor performance and made out big. Porter, the NBA says, made 13 wagers on games ranging from $15 to $22,000, although those bets were in games he did not play in. Porter has played 37 games in total in the NBA, 414 minutes to be exact, making $2,397,933, rounding out at almost $6,000 paid every minute he spent in the league. Safe to say, his betting financially didn't make much sense, and legacy-wise, it stains his name forever, being known as the first and only player in NBA history banned for sports betting on himself or his team. Porter was a top 25 high school prospect alongside his brother Michael Porter Jr., who was seen as the #1 overall pick entering college. His path wasn't as smooth as his brother, going undrafted in 2019, finally making the NBA a year later, minor leagues, then crawling his way back to the NBA. But Jontay Porter had a chance. Most that play can't say that, and with his, he gambled it away for money he would have made in a few games. He bet on himself and lost. Now his NBA days are over. Banned for life. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Jontay Porter is a 6'10" center power forward from Columbia, Missouri that grew up competing against his older brother to playing alongside him in high school, where the two dominated. Together, they'd win a Class 3A state championship his sophomore year. His family would relocate to Seattle, Washington, and the Porter brothers became stars under Seattle legend Brandon Roy at Nathan Hale High School, winning another state championship his junior year as well. They were a perfect 29-0. After his father took a coaching job at Missouri and Brandon Roy switching schools, Jontay Porter reclassified and joined his brother Michael at Missouri in what seemed like the perfect outcome. Dad's a coach and brother right there every step of the way to make certain of a smooth transition. It also helped he grew from 6'8" to 6'10" in that year, almost certain his path would lead right to the NBA. Stunt number 1, tearing both his ACL and MCL. Jontay Porter's path to the NBA couldn't have taken a sharper turn for the worse than it did after his first season in college. Let's not forget, that year was supposed to have been his senior year in high school, but he wanted to play with his brother, who the world knew wouldn't spend more than a year in college, which turned out to be just 3 games, and for his father, who was a coach at a major university. The season for Jontay Porter was up and down, but he had times where you could see his potential, like the 15-10 he had against Georgia, or the 3 games to close out the season he had against Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and again Georgia. An unfinished project, yes, and with the disappointment of a year his brother Michael had dealing with injuries that allowed only 3 games, Jontay Porter's stock was second round to undrafted at best, so in my opinion he made the right move to return to school for another year. Players struggle with this decision mostly because as an athlete your body is the tool you use to compete and generate self-wealth. Without a healthy body, free of freak injuries, said athlete is nothing in the sports world and easily forgotten if they can't perform. It's why most players opt to jump to the league as soon as opportunity presents itself, in fear they come back and get injured and never getting that chance. But Jontay Porter wasn't ready to leave and had no reason financially or otherwise to rush. Michael was off to become an NBA lottery pick, and his dad was a coach at a major school. He himself was set for a huge year and possible first-round pick a year later himself, but that hope was cut short after returning to school and injuring himself in a scrimmage before the season. He tore both his ACL and MCL and was ruled out for the year. It gave concern he'd end up like many bigs proven injury-prone, thus possibly losing opportunity. Stunt number 2, injured again. Yes, Jontay Porter intelligently returned to school for a sophomore season. One, he was the clear star of the team going in with his brother now in the NBA. When he tore his ACL and MCL before the season started, it devastated Porter that he might have to postpone his NBA plans for another year, and he vowed to train even harder to make the injury situation forgotten as soon as possible. But while rehabbing, he tears the ACL again months before the 2019 NBA draft. One injury is justifiable, especially seeing his brother only played 3 games in college and still was taken in the first 14 picks. But 3 injuries to the same knee and 2 surgeries meant Porter likely had no chance being drafted. Yet he entered the 2019 draft anyway, in a decision I think again he made the right choice. Going back to school wouldn't have changed much, seeing as the writing was already on the wall that said he had bad knees and what happens should he injure himself again. Entering and taking the long shot gamble put his future in the hands of 30 NBA teams, and in hindsight fell right in line with Porter taking chances, but the shot was better than never getting a chance to play on that level at all with another setback. He went undrafted in 2019 and signed with the Memphis Grizzlies March 2020. Later that year, he signed a multi-year deal with the team, averaging 2 points in 5 minutes, playing 11 games. July 2021, he was waived and spent the next 2 years in the G League. Toronto signed him December 2023, where he appeared in 26 games, starting 5 of them. For a guy with the injury history Jontay Porter had, and being out the league a few seasons, to make it back to the NBA was an accomplishment you'd think he'd cherish and carve a path to stay by any means. Instead, months later, he'd find himself banned from the league due to his own actions. Stunt number 3, banned from the league. As mentioned, sports betting was a bridge the NBA for its existence struggled to cross for reasons such as this. Committing to it, they knew there'd be hiccups in the plans, seeing as the league has had gambling issues before that put its integrity in question, but who would have thought it would be one of their players involved deep enough they were influencing betting wins and losses. Whatever reason or excuse Jontay Porter makes to explain the NBA findings after investigating the matter, it won't change the fact this cut his growth short for the remainder of his basketball life, whatever's left of it, being overseas or some local minor league. One could say, how could even an overseas team welcome a guy with the offenses Jontay Porter has committed without questioning every negative game outcome or decision he makes on and off the floor? Much less the negative stories that would surround that team, giving its opponents and their fans enough to at least be a distraction. Jontay Porter was just where he needed to be, in the NBA, playing for a team that believed in him enough to give him starting opportunities to prove himself. But the temptation to manipulate the situation proved to override that, and it cost him his basketball future. A player that's had the injuries Porter has and now banned from the NBA has early retirement written all over it, where you can't help but think it's all over. All in all, Jontay Porter made himself the perfect guy the NBA could use as an example. A severe one, as Adam Silver stated when addressing this situation. He's had all the opportunities in the world and was making good on them, but ultimately made a gamble and lost more than he expected. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.